This is one-on-one session with the ForumIAS founder and director Ayush Sinha. In this session, students are asked questions to test their preparedness for the personality test. One-on-one sessions are not mock panel sessions.
So let us begin with a couple of questions.
Yes.
Mayur, can you introduce yourself to me?
Yes. So my name is Mayur Hazarika. I am from Tezpur, Assam. I have done my schooling from Tezpur itself, and after that I have done my graduation in MBBS from Guwahati Medical College, Assam. And following that, I have done 1 year rural service as a medical officer in Nagaon district. And so my hobbies include watching and playing football.
Nagaon district.
Yes.
In Assam itself?
Yes. And watching and playing football and solving Rubik's Cube.
When did you last were you working in Nagaon?
Yes, sir.
When was the last time you worked in Nagaon? Which year or which month?
So it was on the last date of work was on 6th of May 2022.
Who was the district collector of Nagaon?
Sorry, sir. Unable to recall.
What is the biggest problem that Assam faces? What is the biggest challenge? 2 or 3 major challenges before Assam as a state.
Yes. So the first major challenge that I can think of is the floods. The annual floods that occur in Assam cause a great heavy loss of property as well as human life every year. So secondly, the one other issue is that of illegal immigration in Assam. So that has been a problem for quite a long period of time. And so thirdly, there is also the issue of infrastructure shortage in the region. So these are the 3 things that I can think of.
The annual flood problem is also there.
Yes, sir.
Why we are not able to solve the flood problem?
Yes, sir. So there are multiple factors for it. Number one is the geographical location as well. Brahmaputra River has a very fast meandering field, and as a result, the course of it is also not very fixed. And so also Assam being surrounded by the hills in all these 3 directions often results in a massive inflow of water in every monsoon. Also, the rainfall is very high. So besides that, there are also certain physical aspects as well. For example, the construction of embankments in the appropriate regions as well as levees have not been up to the mark.
When you imagine that a flood is imminent,
Yes.
and evolutionary zoologist says that flood is a method of natural selection. So you are the officer in charge of the place. He says that the flood will lead to the death of those animals who have poor instincts, the ones that cannot run, extremely vulnerable ones, the ones which are old, the ones that are sick and hurt or damaged, or maybe very small species. The ones that will have better instincts will survive. The ones which will be able to run fast will survive. So therefore, the gene pool of the forest will improve because of this.
Okay, sir.
And he is an evolutionary biologist or a zoologist, and therefore says that in floods no action should be taken. What will be your approach?
Sir, in this respect, with due respect to his opinion, sir, I am from a medical background and I have that sense of empathy and compassion, not only for humans but also for all living beings. So I don't think that I will let all the animals in that area die and take no action. I will take due necessary action for all the animals as far as possible to take them into a higher altitude region so that they can be saved from the flood.
Have you ever spoken to a tea plantation worker or a tea plantation patient? Has he ever come to you?
Sir, actually, I have communicated with a number of employees who have worked in tea garden because my grandfather also used to work in a tea garden.
Tea garden. So first tell me, who are these workers in the tea gardens? Are they Assamese people or are they outsiders?
Yes, sir. Sir, this tea was as a commercial cultivation. It started at around 1839, and it was started by the British. So what they used to do is that they brought a lot of tribal people from the states of around Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh region to that area, and then employed them as tea garden laborers in that region.
What are the major health challenges that you see in these tea garden employees?
Yes, sir. So first of all, so there is a very high prevalence of anemia in that region. in the because there is also issue of dietary habits in those regions. So secondly, sir, the child mortality rate is also very high in those.
Dietary habits. What is the dietary habits of the tea plantation workers?
Yes, sir. Sir, one very clear that I have seen in that region is that they often take a lot of salt with their tea. So actually, the government of Assam is actually going on with awareness campaigns to encourage them to reduce the salt intake with tea, because salt actually results in hypertension, and the hypertension eventually can lead to other coronary artery diseases as well.
So they put salt instead of sugar.
Yes, sir.
So what sort of chai do they drink? What do they call their tea?
So as far as I know, they call it sa.
Shah
Yes.
or lal chai?
Yes, lal cha also, and then kakri sa. That is the.
So lal chai is the sweet one or salty one?
Sir, it depends. We in my house we take it with sweet, but tribal people tea tribes they often take it with salt.
Which state recently has brought right to health?
Sir, Rajasthan.
What is your opinion? Should we have a universal right to health? Given that you've already worked in a hospital.
So I believe that in principle this scheme is appreciative and should be appreciated in the positive direction. And I think we can actually go for a universal right to health. However, sir, with this a number of aspects are associated. For example, we need to define what actually constitutes a health emergency. Because if we do not define, then there will be a lot of miscommunications between public as well as the doctors, and that might eventually lead in mistrust between the two entities. Also, sir, we need to come up with a definite guidelines as to how the reimbursement of that process will be done.
Why are doctors opposing this right to health?
Sir, the main concern has been about there has been lack of definite guidelines as to how it will be reimbursed or what actually constitutes an emergency. So I think that was the basic objection of the doctors against this.
The government is moving towards an insurance-based model of healthcare service instead of a service provider approach.
Yes.
Do you think it is the right policy initiative for a country like India where there is poverty and poor purchasing power?
Sir, actually, I believe that we can go for a hybrid mix of both. As in India, sir, the insurance rate is very high, it's very low. For example, in 2018 and 19, the out-of-pocket expenditure in India was 48.2% of total expenditure. So that is very high, being a country of a developing station. So, sir, I believe that obviously India needs to continue in its service mode of pattern, and as well as should increase the rate of insurance as well.
So this insurance model will work in the US where the healthcare service is very well developed.
Yes.
But in India where you do not have basic healthcare, will it work? Will it not fail?
So no, I think that we should continue with the basic healthcare in the primary as well as secondary sector as well. We should not stop those services.
The COVID pandemic has taught that the country needs more doctors and less bureaucracy. Still, young doctors like you want to become bureaucrats.
Yes, sir, actually, from that perspective, I actually tend to differ because I believe that there are two perspectives to this. For example, if we look from the perspective of how many medical students are actually coming to civil services, so I think that percentage is very low. As for example, from my college, from the last 4 batches, only 3 of the doctors are attempting for civil services. So that just comes to be around 0.5%. So I believe that if a minuscule amount of doctors actually come into civil services, that will be productive because they will be able to give some sort of expert opinion in policy making. That policy making in the health sector is also important, and doctors with their expertise in that field can actually give expert opinion in this.
Are you aware of some doctors who have done quite well?
Yes, sir. Especially in COVID period in Assam, sir, there was an IAS officer, Dr. Lakshmanan. He was also a doctor, and sir, he was very crucial in the COVID management, and for that he was even awarded Assam Sword of Award.
Mayur, why do you want to join the civil services?
Sir, I had an inclination towards civil services even before I joined medical. And sir, during the period of my MBBS graduation, that earlier desire became stronger, and so I decided to attempt for civil services. And so within civil services, my first preference is Indian Foreign Service. So because seeing the recent rise of India in the international platform, I think I'll be fortunate enough if given the opportunity to be a part of that journey for India.
All right, Mayur, your interview is over.
Thanks.
So Mayur, you are saying things, in my opinion, you're on the right track. You are well sorted. Things should work out for you. You should be in the list.